was gonna slip, slip, slip through your slip, slip, slip through your hands. Whoa, 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 whoa. I was gonna.
Alrighty, people. So we are live again. Here we go on this wonderful and spectacular Memorial Day weekend. Today's Memorial Day. If you didn't know, well, now you know. So, yeah, Memorial Day is always, it's always a 3-day weekend, and so my opinion of Memorial Day is it's basically the remembrance of people that you knew that had deployed with you that didn't obviously make it back. So I hope that you guys take that into account when you celebrate your Memorial Day. But that's what it means to me. I always try and do as little as possible as I can. What the fuck is going on with my headphones? Oh my god, it's under the chair. All right, there we go. Now I can move. But yeah, I don't really like to do much on Memorial Day weekend for specific reasons. It's just not my thing. I like to take this holiday as more of a remembrance and do a little more drinking than usual. But I mean, that's for good reasons. But I did want to show you guys something cool. So I did get all these new koozies that from a local place around here. They're pretty cool. That one, and I also got this one as well, which I thought was pretty cool too. It's got a fucking bottle opener, but it's a Marine Corps one. So yeah, but anyway, so I remember, I think it was like 5 or 6 episodes ago, I did an Afghanistan, like basically like what a deployment was like, and I kind of got halfway through with it, and now I think I'll kind of finish it off, and then I'm gonna tag the people. Well, I'm gonna show up like the memorial service and everything that we had for 2-9 at the time for that, and I think it was probably about 15 or 16 guys that we lost on that deployment. But that's what the introduction of this one's going to be about. And that's what I thought I'd talk about. It's Memorial Day, take a break from the cryptid stuff. I mean, I do have some cryptid stuff that I could talk about, but I figured today would be specifically better if we just kind of held with the Memorial Day services and stuff like that. So I figured I'd finish off the second half of my Afghanistan shitty ass deployment, and then we can go from there. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see how long that takes. And yeah. So my wife did get this plant. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got she stamped the combat and cryptids on the plant. It's pretty cool. I love this plant though, by the way. It looks like a fire coming out the middle of it. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys are having a great day. So let's get this bad boy kicked off, yeah? So I think where I left off was we had I think it's where we were building the Typhoons, and that was just after Sergeant Bovie had just got killed and died and stuff like that. And I think it was the same time that Lance Corporal Twig also was shot and killed around the same. They were within a couple days, I know, and they always told you people always died in the first month and the last month. And I think I said that on the previous one too before, but that's when complacency is at the most because you're still trying to figure everything out. You're still trying to do everything. You're still trying to figure out the lay of the land, the area, and stuff like that. So it's really that's when the most casualties usually happen. You have them intermittently in the middle there and stuff like that because people get used to routines and doing the same thing and stuff like that. So we're in Marja at this time, Marja, Afghanistan, and we are a squad of engineers at this point, and we've been together for the first couple months. We've really been just we've just been doing odd end stuff. We're making porta-johns, we're making pissers, we're making little buildings, we're doing just all the shit that we did not like doing, because there were 3 different groups as far as engineers. So you had people who built shit, you had people who dealt with like planes, so you had like ESB, which is like support, so they have all like the excavators, they have all the good shit to do everything. And then you have people who are like with like the air traffic and they fix roads and shit like that and they do all that stuff. And then you have our division, which is we just deal with explosives, and that's all we did. So to go to Afghanistan in the first couple months, and that's all that you're doing is building and doing road construction, all this other stuff, all the shit you just didn't want to do. It just came very like you were always itching, and I guess the best way to describe it is you were always itching to, like, we called it at the point you called them ribbon chasers, and basically you found this out the hard way. Well, we kind of found it out the hard way. Is you wanted those ribbons, and you wanted those accolades and those write ups and those citations and all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, you did not want the price you had to pay to get those was not worth, after me being 33 now, the price of to get those accolades and those awards and stuff like that. It definitely was not worth it at that point. So basically, but that's what we're doing. That's what we're itching for. We're 20, 21-year old men, and we're just like, hey, like, we want to do stuff. We came out here to, to be on this deployment, to get into some shit and do stuff, and be this, what the Marine Corps was about. And that's what we were looking for. So I think after the couple months, then I think the first 2 months after everything kind of calmed down and stuff like that. So we have a new squad leader at this point. It went from Sergeant Bouvier to Sergeant Romriel, which they are basically like spitting image. They're mirrors of each other. Like, same kind of mentality, same kind of work ethic. Like, the dude was a perfect transition for us. For us just losing our squad leader, for him to just pick that slack up. And he was, I think, with the fourth squad leader at this time. So he was in charge of like heavy equipment and electricians and all that other stuff. So it was very nice to have him come into a new squad that he had never even been in charge of or dealt with. He'd seen us, we'd obviously talked and stuff like that, but to be him going from being a fourth squad leader to now first squad, or no, what were we, second squad, to take that over and be like, hey, now you're in charge of these guys, trying not to get them killed, mentor them, show them everything like that. That was a hard transition for him, but he picked it up fucking very well. I mean, as per usual. So we have Sergeant Romriel, and that's all. Like, nothing else really changed. So we had Sug, we had Nal, we had Galvan, we had Metz, we had Canary, and we had myself. Yeah, and I think that was it. Yeah. I mean, we had more people, but they got divvied up to, basically, they were like, they drove the vehicles and stuff like that. Everyone got ripped apart, but that was the core squad that we had. And basically, once we split, once we got 2 months in, and they split us up and put us with our actual companies, our grunt companies, which was Echo Company, which was the ones that we were attached to. And then you had first squad, who was with either Fox or Golf, and then third squad was either with Fox or Golf. And then basically from there, we took all of our shit. We'd go out to their COC, and basically we stayed in the tents with them. We did patrols with them. We did everything, the daily life, like they would do, except for sit on their posts and their corners. So, like, we never did that shit, because we were like, nah, hell no, we ain't doing that shit. That shit's boring. So we're doing all this stuff, and we're just rocking and rolling. We're doing patrols. We're having fun. You get into gunfights. You do all this cool shit, and everybody's like having a blast. You get to know the area. You get to know the people. You get to know what you're doing. Everything is normal, which is the way it should be. You should be able, like, if I've traveled this route 25 times in the past month and a half, then you should know everything about it, and you always know if things are out of place. If the area changes, if the vibe is off, everything like that. It was well known, because you were in that area so many times, and that's what made it, everybody so tight knit. Everybody, like, you knew what the guy next to you was doing before he even did it, because you were so used to seeing that and so used to doing that, which was fun. I mean, this is what we were there for. We were there to get in gunfights. We were there to maybe find a couple bombs here and there, maybe out of like one every like 3 or 4 months, like at most, and they weren't even really that good. And we go from that, and you're like, yeah, this is great. Now, the same time we're in Marja is the same time that the Marine Corps decided that they wanted to take over Sangin Valley in Afghanistan, which is like kind of like, I guess, like another city like near Marja. But Sangin, so basically this is how Sangin worked. At least this is what we were told, and this is how it worked out. So basically, the British used to have, they had Sangin Valley. They had Sangin, and it was a huge town. You know, you had the green zone and the brown zone, which green zone was nothing but trees, woods, crops, and all that stuff, and the brown zone was just nothing but villages and huts and all, and there was no vegetation and stuff. So basically, the Brits had Sangin, but the Brits were ripping out with they were going to another area. I don't know what they were doing, but they were going to a different area. And basically, the Marines were like 3-5 was the unit that was basically taking over where the Brits were. And within, I think it didn't take them less than a month, they became combat ineffective. 3-5 did, because they were losing Marines at the fucking cyclic rate. They were just, people were getting blown, and it wasn't even gunshots. People weren't getting shot. People were getting blown up from bombs. Was the worst part of it. And come to find out, basically, and this is all like I don't know if this is true, but this is just what we were told when we were there. Is basically we would the Brits paid off the Taliban basically to say, hey, this, you don't shoot at us, we won't shoot at you. And that's just kind of the way the handshake was. They were just there to do their 7 months and get the fuck out, which was cool, fine and dandy. But obviously, when the Brits leave and the Marines come in, that obviously we're not going to hold that same. We're like, fuck off. Like, you guys ain't going to do shit. Like, fuck you guys. Not knowing that for the past year that all the Taliban, when the Brits were there, they basically haloed in every area that the Brits held. They haloed them in with bombs everywhere. And I'm talking bombs on every corner, every road, every street. There was fucking thousands of them, of IEDs that were everywhere. And we called them legacy IEDs, which is basically, it was bombs that were put there so long ago that even the Taliban wouldn't even know if they would go off or where they were. And that saved your lives a couple times, because either the bomb was so old that it didn't blow up, or they misjudged where the bomb was in relation to you, and they missed blowing you up, which, so it kind of helped out in some sense, but some other times it didn't. So basically, a 3-5's going in there not knowing any of this. They're just thinking it's a new area. They're taking it from the Brits. Like, obviously, they've been there, so nothing's. But the Marines go in there, and they just want to wreck shop, and they're going to go in there, and they're going to take names, and they're going to make sure that this is an area that we can locally operate, and we can move around and do all this stuff, which sounds great on paper. But when 3-5 went in there, within the first month, they were getting blown up like fucking 4 or 5 times a day. They were losing Marines. Bam, bam, bam. Everybody who was sitting in North Carolina was basically sending over all their reserve people to go refill 3-5. So basically, when all that happened, we 2-9 Echo Company was basically the only ones tasked with, basically the whole company is going to move from Marja and go to a brand new area in Sangin Valley, and we're going to take over the area that 3-5 has been in, and so 3-5 can push and go to a different area. And basically how it was, which very rarely ever happens. Usually you stay in your same area, you stay in your same spot for your 7 months, and that's it. And that's you. Once your 6 months hits, the new unit gets there, you rip with them, you show them the ways and all that stuff, and that's the way we thought it always been. All of our senior leadership, that was what they told us was normal. So this happens, and it's basically our squad of engineers. We're basically going, and with with Echo Company, and we basically go. We pack up all our shit. We go. We do all this stuff. We get there, and we do like the whole introduction to the area and stuff like that. And then we basically go. There's 3 squads. All right, basically 3 squads. There's 3 platoons, and the 4th platoon is like a weapons platoon. So basically, weapons platoon gets broken up into all 3 of those squads, along the same with the engineers. So we were with, I couldn't even remember his name, what the platoon sergeant's or the officer's name is. All I know is they were jackasses. We got broken up. So me and Sug were with, I don't even know. I know all the guys, like Sergeant Baker, Sergeant Club May. Don't know the other fucking guy because he wasn't really that important. But Corporal Tate, all these guys, I knew all of them. I don't know what platoons they were in, but that was the platoon we were with. And then Galvan and Metz went with the other platoon, which was a little further away. And then Sergeant Romriel and Canary went with the other platoon. And that's basically, that was the last, once we were at that base, that was the last time we would see each other for 2 months at that point. I think we only had 2 months left, somewhere around there. It was close to the end where you were like, fuck. Like you were just so pissed off because you had to go. Because we could have rode our 2 months out from there and just been happy in Marja. But now we're in this new area, not knowing what the fuck is going on, where engineers were irrelevant in Marja because we were just grunts in at that point. So to take that and switch that gear back to now finding bombs, disabling bombs, destroying bombs, that's what that, like, you had to flip that switch and you had to do it quick. So we get out there, we get to our fob where we're going to be patrolling out of. And of course, there's two more engineers that are there, and they have their whole depot where all their explosives are, their C4 and all this other stuff. And they've only been there for maybe 2 months at most. And these guys, just seeing these two engineers, like with me and Sug coming in, and just seeing these guys, we were like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys? We were like, nah, like, this is not, why do they have that? They had that, like, that 1,000-yard stare. Like, they have been through all this shit and seen all this stuff. And you're like, what the fuck is, like, what the hell did we just get into? And me and Sug are like, man, these dudes are fucking crazy. They're whacked out already after 2 months. It's like, we cannot get like this. Little did we know we would get like that, not knowing the area or what we were getting into. So basically, these guys showed us the ropes. Everybody always walked in Ranger file, bam, one behind the other. Before we'd walk in like a regular tactical patrol and stuff like that. But there, you wanted the least amount of foot traffic possible on an area. And what I mean by that is, it's very easy for one person to lead and walk a path, and then sweep it with a compact metal detector to make sure there's no bombs that we're stepping on. It's very easy to do those things when you're all in a straight line. If you did it in 2 lines, then you'd have to have 2 sweepers, and it just takes a lot more. So that's how they told us to patrol. And we were like, all right, I mean, these guys know the area. Like, they've already been here for a few months, so we're not going to, if you don't listen, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot, and you're just going to have people get killed, which is not what we wanted to do. We had 2 months left. We don't want to fucking get anybody killed. That was the idea. We're not there. We've already made a name for ourselves. We're not trying to make anything else after this. This is all that we are trying to do, is just survive, get through the 2 months, and get the fuck back home. That's it. Obviously, other people always had different ideas, and everybody always wants to make a name for themselves, whether it be some fucking stupid lieutenant or some stupid fucking captain. Everybody wants to make a name for themselves just to get that fucking ribbon. But we've already done the shit. We're over it. We're at the back half of this. And like I said, people die in the first month and the last month. Now you think 2 months left. New area. That's both of them right there. That's the first month you're there and the last month you're there. So that's everything. Everyone's on edge and no one wants to do a fucking thing. But we're Marines. Obviously, we still have to go attempt to talk and communicate and see what is going on in the area and stuff like that, because we want to know. We want to have answers too as well, like, why the fuck is this shit so fucked up? So basically, and we get rude awakening on all of this. There was a place, and I'm gonna put some of these videos on there. I might clip them down and make them smaller, and I'm gonna mute all the words and stuff like that, because I don't want the wrong idea getting out. But I've had these videos for so long, and they're not pleasant videos. They're, like, people get blown up and stuff like it's all bad stuff. But I feel like, putting a dumbed down version or a smaller version of it, where you don't have names, you don't have faces and stuff like that. Like, I think it's, so I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know if I will, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of, like, I don't know, like, I just don't want to put that shit out there, because it's something that we had happen to us, and it was very near and dear to us. And just because we captured it doesn't mean you need to share it. You know what I mean? So we end up doing all this stuff, and we rippered them. 3-5 ends up moving on to their new area and stuff like that. And we just trying to get, we get into the groove of things. And what we thought was weird immediately when we first got to our fob that we were operating out of, is the Marines were in the smallest corner of where they out of the base that they operated out of, which is, the whole it's maybe 3-4 acres, like this big ass HESCO that we're in. And it's got 4 corners. It's got a nice entrance and everything like that. But the Marines were in secluded into a little corner, and they let the ANA, which is the Afghan National Army, take over all of it. Like they were running, the ANA was running 90% of the base, and the Marines were in the little corner. And of course, we get there and we're like, fuck you. We're like, no, this is our fucking base. You guys are just visitors here. So we basically took over back everything and gave them a little small area the same way that they did to the other Marines. And basically, the reason why the Marines did it before 3-5 did it was they had everybody was so spread out and everybody was doing their own thing. And you go to your posts and you go to do this and stuff like that. And one night you had a Marine and 2 ANA guys on a post. And basically, the one of the ANA guys was a Taliban dude who had infiltrated and was in the ANA. And basically, when the Marine turned around or something like that, he shot him twice in the back, dropped a gun, and then jumped over and then ran and stuff like that. Obviously, they didn't catch him. So that was like, that we can't trust any of these ANA guys. So basically, they secluded themselves in a little corner, which we thought was the dumbest thing in the world. So, yeah. So that was the first thing we did. We took over the base because it's our fucking operating base. It's not theirs. We're there to teach them and show them. I'm not giving you 80% of our fucking base. It's our stuff. So we did that, and we fixed all that shit. We had our own gym. It was fun. It was great. And then we start going on the patrols, and then you feel and you see how long these, like a normal patrol for us coming from Marja, maybe an hour and a half. We'll be back. We walked 2 miles, back one way mile, back the other way, and it was good. It was easy. The heat wasn't an issue at this point, because it's like December, January time frame, and in Afghanistan, it's hot during the day, but at night it's fucking cold as shit. So the heat wasn't really that big of an issue. And there's all valleys, it's hills and valleys. So you can see the village that's down off of our fob, but it's maybe 500-600 meters. But you have to go down and up and down. So it's more than that. As a crow flies, it's 500 meters. But so it's hard to see where people were putting bombs at, where they're putting all this stuff and everything like that. So there was one. So we did the normal patrols and stuff like that, and they took forever. They would take hours to go maybe 500 meters. They took forever because I have baby powder in my back pocket, and I was basically walking, checking areas out and stuff like that, and I would always put some baby powder down. Like, hey, stay to the left of this because that's where I've already walked and where I'm saying it's already clear. Did it always work out like that? No. But at least for our peace of mind, it was easier to say, hey, I've at least walked here. This area is good. But sometimes it didn't work out like that. So we get to the point where I think we have like a month left or something, and we're just doing patrols, and nothing up to this point has given us any reason to be scared of this area. We found bombs and stuff like that, but they were all in dumb places, like easy shit, like child's play stuff that I could easily, me or Sug was able to find these things before it got to that point. But then again, we're not pushing our luck. We're not trying to go out there and win the hearts and minds and do all this. Like, no. Like, we were all, we're all gung-ho and we're all for, helping the people in the villages and all that stuff. But at one point, do we stop all that? And we had to be like, no. So, of course, someone gets their bright idea. So, down close to our fob was a place, it was called Sparta Bridge. And Sparta Bridge was basically it used to be like an OP for the Marines. And basically, Sparta Bridge was in between the main fob and ours, pretty much. So it was like, here was the bigger cop, here was our fob, and over here was Sparta Bridge. You'd have to travel that road and you could turn off to it, but it was basically just an old OP. And pretty much from there, the Taliban took it over. They put fucking hundreds of bombs around it, and basically no one wanted to go there. So the bright idea that someone gets is, let's go and try and retake Sparta Bridge. The dumbest idea in the world. All right, at this point, we only have like a month left. And I'm like, why are we doing this shit, guys? Like, we don't need to. We don't need to. We're going to start ripping here with the new unit. Like, we don't need any of this stuff. Why are we doing this? And I'm thinking this. I can't say this obviously because at the rink I was at, I was very low man on the totem pole, I guess you could say. So what I said would never make sense to anybody. So I just kept my mouth shut on things. I just did what I was told. So the first day we go, I go with Sergeant Clubmay. Sergeant Clubmay, a little short guy, a little tiny guy, and we go out there. Got 6 sticks of C4 on my back. And we're gonna take this route that I think is a good route. Well, it's the easier route, I guess. And you had the canal that would go perpendicular to Sparta Bridge. The bridge would go across, and on the corner is where we wanted to take it over. So we go there, and there's a mosque right on the corner. Obviously, we can't enter a mosque. We can't do anything with the mosque, so we don't. But I think if I can blow the wall to like the courtyard to the mosque, that will be good. We can go in there, and I know they're not going to place bombs in the mosque because it's like a religious thing and everything like that. So I know they're not going to do that. So basically from there, I go, hey, I call Sergeant Clubmay up, and I'm like, hey, this is my plan. This is my idea. First thing I want to do is I want to go down the side, and I want this we had a bomb sniffing dog, the laziest fucking dog in the world, biggest piece of shit in the world. Why? Because in Marja, he didn't have to do his fucking job. He wasn't sniffing for bombs. He was a pet. He was being fed. He was being laid with and cuddled and teach how to like the shit you just don't normally do. And I said, hey, I want the dog to go and sniff and see if he smells anything or anything like that, thinking that this is what, this dog is bred for. This dog is made for these things. We paid fucking thousands of dollars to get this fucking dog to do these things. And so me and Sergeant Clubmay are standing side by side, within 3 feet of each other. And the handler comes up. I forget the fucking kid's name, but he was a jackass too. The handler comes up, lets the dog go. The dog sniffs the trail and goes down. And it's just like a little 4-wheeler trail, I guess you could say. Then he's sniffing it and everything. It gets about 30 feet past it. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I mean, if that's sound enough for me, I guess it makes sense that now it's clear and the area's good. So the dude starts calling his dog back. And he's probably like 5 feet behind us, I think, somewhere. Yeah, he's off to the right-hand side. Trail goes this way. Corner of the mosque is here. Trail where the dog is sniffing, where we want to go to Sparta Bridge, which is maybe not even 100 feet. You could see it, And he starts calling the dog back. Dog comes back, gets about 10, 12 feet away from us. And then all of a sudden, just the loudest explosion you have ever heard in your entire life. Boom! Fucking rips right 3 feet in front of me and Sergeant Clubmay, and the dog is on the other side. Rips, and I'm talking a 4 or 5 foot hole that goes fucking 3 feet deep. And it fucking, boom, blows me and fucking Sergeant Clubmay back on our asses. This dude over here, I think he was fine. The dog got its fucking tail broke or whatever it was, but we were fucking pissed. We got knocked out. Bam. We just got lit up by 20 pounds each, and me, bam, blew up. Now, in the beginning, I said legacy IDs because legacy IDs, the guy didn't know where the bomb was. He thought we were directly on top of it, which is where we stood. If we would have went forward 3 more feet, we'd have been fucking dead, because this was a huge explosion. The edge of the circle was at the edge of my boot. That's how big of the explosion it was. So it rocked us. I mean, we're ears are ringing, heads fucking going crazy, and all this crazy ass shit's going on. You can't hear anything. Your fucking pupils are not everything. We're just fucking pissed. So now fucking flak jacket, everything's all fucked up. Everything's ripped up. Rocks got thrown at you. Got hit fucking in the lip, the mouth, the arm, with all kinds of shit. And so we have to so at that point we're pissed and we're like, well, fuck this bridge, we're not going back to it, fuck it, I'm not doing it. So then we start to walk back, and we go and we get back and we get halfway in fucking EOD, so explosive ordnance disposal. They want to come out and they want to do a post blast, which basically a post blast is they want to take pictures and see what kind of material is used for their intel, to see what kind of bombs are being used, what kind of explosives and everything like that. So now we're pissed, because we're tired, we're hot. We've been out there for fucking hours to get that far. And it's just miserable. You've already had a minute. We just got blown the fuck up. I don't want to be out here. I don't want to do any of this. And at that point, I'm like, Sergeant Clubmay gets a call on the radio, and he's like, hey, you guys got to go back. EOD wants to do a post blast. So we go back to do the post blast. And basically, the EOD techs get out there. They got their vehicle and everything like that. And basically, the EOD tech is like, hey, I want you to sweep in the hole and past it and put me a saw gunner on security on the other side. I forget the little short guy's name. It was a saw gunner for Sergeant Club May Squad. But he was cool as shit. He was a cool dude. So I sweep in the hole that just almost fucking nearly killed me. Sweep past it, right? Put him on security on the other side. EOD gets down in the hole. They start pulling out the wire, seeing what the fuck is left in there and stuff like that. I shit you not. The motherfucker starts pulling a wire, and the wire he keeps pulling is coming closer to where we were just standing. And he pulls the cable. He pulls out a fucking 20-pound pressure cooker that's charred on the side that did not go off. That was under us, directly under us, right? And I'm here, Sergeant Club May. The pressure cooker was right there. That did not explode. And we were like, fuck me. That was close. You know, if that would have went off, we're dead. There's no way. If not, we're not dead. We're going to wish we were. And I think at that point, I would say not at that point, but somebody specifically on that day woke up to kill us both. And that was when the truth behind all of it just did not make it worth any of it. Like knowing that somebody woke up that day, saw me and him, thought we were both on it, blew up, second one didn't go off. He was probably pissed because he didn't get anybody. He broke the tail on the dog. That was about it. But he didn't get anybody. So someone woke up that day to kill us. And we were like, at that point, I would say, not at that point was I like, hey, I'm fucking done with this shit. I think it was the next day. We just went by there. You know, we didn't go all the way there. We kind of went there. And we used some binoculars to look at that same spot where we just got blown up. And they didn't even hide it. There was 4 fucking more cables coming over the walls. The bombs were, they had put 4 more fucking bombs in place of the 2 that we had just taken out. And that's when I made the decision that whatever anybody says or whatever anybody wants to do is going to be their decision, not mine. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm like, there's too many. I've already taken too many strikes. I'm like a cat with fucking 9 lives at this point, and I only got fucking 1 or 2 left. You know, and I don't want to be a part of any of that. I don't want to make the mistake of missing a bomb or not being like finding a bomb and then someone else getting fucking killed for it. I just didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want that on my conscience. And I've already pressed my luck enough, like being there already a month and a half. I've already found fucking God knows how many bombs at this point, and I don't want the one that's gonna find my ass is punching my ticket. Done. You know, because up to that point, I'm fucking pulling bombs out like it's nothing, like it's cool. Like it's like we're just digging post holes and we're just putting posts like that. It was easy. It was easy because I was in control of them, and I had not gotten blown up yet. That was the easy part, right? It's easy to have fun with things when you know you haven't died yet. It's hard after you hear that explosion and you see the force that this fucking bomb makes. I don't care how fucking much of a man you are. That's gonna bring it. That's gonna knock everything out of you. So I think like a week later or something like that, they end up wanting to try and do this whole big operation to take back Sparta Bridge. And we went from the rat trail side on the canal, and now somebody comes up with the great decision, like, let's go down the main road. And the main road, there's always traffic on the main road. There's cars, there's motorcycles, everything. Doesn't mean there's not bombs there, okay? It doesn't mean that you can't just... And that's what I think everyone failed to realize is just because the traffic of local people was going through it doesn't mean when we show presence there that they're not going to activate and remember where the fucking bombs are. You know what I mean? So. And at that point, I made a conscious decision to say, hey, me and Sergeant Club May and his squad, we're not going down there. And I told him that, and he agreed with it 100%. I said, hey, I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't want us to do it. So I think it got passed off to Sergeant, I forget, it was either Sergeant Baker or Sergeant Faulkner. Is that his name? I don't fucking know. One of them two. I was gonna be on the observation above them, looking down. Because I had to sweep the area and get up there for the gunners and everything to be up there. So I did that. And we're just sitting up there. We're just waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for them to start patrolling, which they get to the corner of the mosque, opposite side of where I got blown up. So I was on the right side. They were going to enter from the perpendicular side of the main road. And basically, they're cutting off traffic. They had MRAPs and everything. They stop everything and all that. And they get out there. And the squad starts going. They start patrolling. And I'm watching all of this. You know what I mean? And it's just, you have a gut feeling that something is not right. And it's not right. And it's fucked up. Like, you have to say something about it. So then at that point, they're on the road. So the OP breaks down and we go down into the mosque in the courtyard right there in the corner, right where I got blown up, right side, 40 feet away. We go there. Everybody sits down. Everybody's relaxing and stuff like that. We're just waiting to see what the next move is, waiting for the squad. And so we're facing the wall, the big wall that's on the main road to Sparta Bridge. And we're facing the wall. And the squad is patrolling right there. They're trying to sweep everything and check everything and do everything. And they're walking down. And they're getting to the bridge. And I think at some point, they make it to the bridge. Right? They get to the bridge. And on the corner is the building that they want to take over. But I think at that point, they never even attempt to even get to them. Like, they get to the bridge and they say, hey, we made it to Sparta Bridge. And when they say that, they basically from there, as soon as I'm looking at the wall, right? Looking at the wall, and they're making it. And I don't know what is going on over there. I saw them walking. I see Sug out there pulling bombs out, placing them. Maybe 5 or 6 going at it. Just a normal day, which was good. You find the bombs, you're pulling them out, you're snipping them. Nobody can blow you up, right? That's what you would think. And I'm staring at the wall. And the wall's maybe 10 to 12 feet tall. It's just a big mud wall. It's got a door in the center of it. And they make it to the bridge, and they're all in Ranger file. Everybody's walking straight down Ranger file. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you hear the biggest fucking boom. I'm talking twice the size of what we got hit with the previous week, me and Clubmate. And you see, and it was probably the biggest slow motion I've ever seen of a person getting blown up. Bam. And you see the body flying. You see it all charred black. Boom. Torso. Head. Arms gone. Legs are gone. And you see this. And it's maybe 15, 20 feet away from me. And you see the explosion. You see everything going on. And you're just thinking in your head, that was a person. That was somebody in the squad. Okay, cool. Now the after effect, right? Now we have to go there. Got to open the door, find out who it is, everything like that. Everyone gets together and all that stuff. We're trying to do body counts and all that stuff. So basically, and I'm going to run this through real quick, of what happened or where the mistake was made. And I guess, I don't know. And I've explained this. I explained this to everyone in the squad. I explained it to everybody there. And I think it was this point, this death, I guess, is what caused everyone to finally click and then listen. All right. So Sug was on one side. Another infantry dude was on the other side. They're walking 2 lines down the road. At this point, they found 8, 4 on each side, right? 4 bombs, 20-pound HME, right on the side of the road. And they're walking. They get to the bridge, right? And basically how this worked is the guy who blew the charge up, okay, it was meant for a vehicle dismount. So it's basically there was a huge charge in the center. And I say the center, it was probably like 4 or 5 feet one way or the other. But there was a huge charge in the center, and they daisy chained 8 smaller explosives to the outside. So if they blow up, the truck gets blown up first, boom. Everybody comes out. They dismount. They try and figure everything out. Then they get hit again, boom, with the smaller charges, right? Well, they found the smaller charges. They did not find the big fucking 60-pounder that was sitting in the road. All right, because it was in a completely different area. It's not the area they were walking in. So everyone makes it to the bridge. right? He gets to the bridge, and Corporal Jacob Tate was the sorry soul that got hit with this one. And it was, it was definitely, I mean, he was the same age as me. He was 20, 21, maybe at most. We had a month left on this deployment. And because we wanted to go to this fucking bridge, now he's dead. And that was when the sad reality of everything set in. And I told Suck this too. He was the corporal, he was the leading engineer. And I said, "Hey, don't go down here. I just got a bad feeling about it, dude." And I'm like, and then as soon as he got blown up, I found him and I said, "I told you somebody was going to die." And he got pissed. He wanted to fight me. He about to fucking punch me. Surprised he didn't. He's a big dude from Louisiana. And I knew it was a mistake. And at the cost of that, we made it to the bridge. We didn't hold it, but at the cost of that is what it cost to get to the bridge. Was it worth it? Fuck no, it wasn't. And the way we found out after the fact was the dude was sitting at an angle like a 45, and he was watching people walk by. He'd watch them walk by. The bomb is straight to him, 90 to him. So this little hole he can see us from, or see them from, was 45. So he's waiting, counting. One person, two persons. And that's what he did the whole time. And then he waited for somebody who was closer to him that strayed off the path a little bit. And when he did that, 9-volt battery, sends a spark, blows the blasting cap up, the explosives go off. And I mean, that's the reality of it right there. And then after that, I would say after that happened, everyone was there. The whole platoon was there. Everybody was there. Every single person on that fob was there. And everybody was sitting there. And everyone saw it. So there was no way to hide any of it from anybody. The sound, the ferociousness of the explosion, all those things, everybody was there for it. And that's when I think it clicked over for everyone that this shit is not fun anymore. And I think at that point, like if I said I'm not going to do something, or I don't want to go down an area, or I don't want to sweep down an area, they were 100% on board. Why? Because we knew we had a month left and we didn't want to die. And that was the reality of it. Is we were at the point where we didn't give a fuck. And I was like that. And the squad leaders would black me up 100%. They were like, "Hey, go fucking sweep this area. Well, here's the fucking CMD. You go sweep it. See how fun it is for you. It's not fun." You know what I mean? We would go out on these patrols. We would sit and talk to locals for 15, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it was, just to say that we went out there. We showed face. But at that point, we were like, this is not worth it for us. And then we get to the point where the new unit comes out. They start ripping with us. And these motherfuckers were so gung-ho. They were all so eager and happy. The engineers were there. The squad leader was there. The guy who's not even, I think it was the platoon sergeant was there. And these motherfuckers, like, you're not going to be out here. Why are you out here? I need your fucking lance coolies, your corporals, the people who are going to be in this shit to show them and teach them. And these guys had the big eyes. They knew that they were going to be able to do their job and all this stuff and everything. And they thought it was going to be fine and great and dandy. But they didn't listen. And it was 2nd CEB, which was once we got ripped with them and left them there, within 2 months, 3 months, I was PCSing from Japan to go to North Carolina to be stationed at 2nd CEB, the same unit that just ripped with me in Afghanistan, right? So when I get there and I find out all of this fucking chaos is ensuing, people are fucking dying, their engineers are getting killed every fucking day, but no one fucking listens. I told all of these guys, I said, don't be chasing ribbons. This is not the place to do it. This is not where you want to do it. You're just going to get people killed, and you're going to get your Marines killed. And you're going to feel like shit, and you're just going to have to live with it. But they didn't listen. So I get to the new unit, I ask all the squads that are there, hey, what the fuck is going on? How's the deployment going? How's Sangin treating them? And the list just keeps adding up every day. One or two guys dying. One or two guys lost a limb, lost a leg, whatever it is. And no one wanted to listen. And I think that pissed me off the most because I had told all the leadership that was there, don't do these things. You can do your job and you can do it in a safe manner, but don't go to the extreme. Don't put other people's lives at risk because you wanted to make a name for yourself, whether it be the fucking platoon sergeant or the officer in charge, the OIC, whatever. And now after that, after it was all said and done, people started listening at some point, because I was teaching at that point. I was about to get out of the Marine Corps. People are teaching at that point and stuff, and I'm trying to show all these new people, 18-year-old kids coming in and all this stuff. Because if it was up to me, well, I wasn't coming up. I was about to go on another deployment, but not as bad as that one. But I was trying to teach all these guys, these young guys coming up, hey, this is what you need to do. This is the right way to do these things. This is how you keep your guys safe, because that's what you're based on. I don't give a shit how many meritorious promotions, how many great things everybody's doing, whatever it is, you're based on, especially being an engineer, you're based on, can you keep people alive? And Sangin puts you to the test on that. It put you to the test immediately, because it didn't give a fuck if you were in the Marine Corps for 15 years. It didn't give a fuck if you were in the Marine Corps for 15 months. That place tested you and burned you out immediately, and it was bad. Like, that right there made you feel like you never wanted to go on deployment again. If you did, it was going to be on your terms, and it was going to be in an area that you wanted to go in. And I mean, and then people didn't listen. People started dying, and then it's not fun anymore. And all you get out of it is a fucking memorial bracelet, bad memories, and just bad shit, And that, in my opinion, if in all this style of leadership and stuff like this, like me, this style of leadership, this style of thinking and everything like that, you don't have it anymore in the Marine Corps. Most of those guys got out, and if they stayed in, they're way above any of that to do any of that stuff. So you're not going to find that kind of mentality or that kind of work ethic to keep your Marines alive and stuff like that. It's not the same. The Marine Corps changed so much after 2012, 2013, I think, is when the transition started. You could tell, Afghanistan was drawn down, all that other stuff, and the Marine Corps was turning into something you did not want to be a part of. And that old dying breed of like wartime Marines and stuff like that, like those motherfuckers were done with all of it. And I get it. I mean, you treated us like shit. You didn't help us with anything. You didn't help us with the fucking PTSD, all of that stuff, TBI and all that. No one helped us. No one cared. Suck it up and shut the fuck up, which is what we did. And now, 2023, almost 10 years later, it ain't got no better, and it's just the life we got to live with, unfortunately. But those people, like Corporal Tate, Lance Corporal Geese, Lance Corporal, I forget, Hatai, whatever, I forget his name. He was the coolest shit, dude. But those three guys were the only three that died in Sangin in the last 2 months, right? Because I think it felt like each unit had to figure it out the hard way. You had to have somebody die to figure out, like, hey, this is not an area we want to fucking be in. It's not an area you want to do anything in. And when we all got back together after those 2 months and everything like that, and everybody was like, oh my God, dude. You're hugging everybody. Canary, got his fucking legs blown off. Metz, he's pretty much paralyzed now. And they were the two Lance Corporals, just like me, another Lance Corporal. I said, fuck, my time card's going to get punched at some time. So that's when I was like, I think I switched in my head to be like, Sug, we got to do something about this, dude. We can't be in this mindset anymore. And he was like, you're right. And me and that motherfucker, as much as I had his back, he had my back. That made it all wonderful. So, but yeah, and that is what your Memorial Day weekend is for, for those guys. So, I hope it's not too much of a tearjerker. I hope people don't hate me enough to worry about it and stuff like that. Because, I mean, that's how they live on. You got to talk about them, talk about their experiences, their life, and stuff like that. So, everything will be all right in the end. But sometimes it just takes some stubbornness to figure it out. So, other than that, that's about it, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping in, listening. Hopefully we get back to the weekly basis of, putting out some more. And I already got some cryptid ones I want to talk about, like some Wendigo and stuff like that, all kinds of creepy shit. But I hope you guys have a wonderful and great Memorial Day. And I will see you guys next week. Take care of each other. Be safe. Do what's right, even when no one's looking. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Catch you later.